Okay, so the fourth turn here sees it open up with the infantry down here under Horn. I can't remember the wing commanders' names. I could try to read it, but I probably can't pronounce it anyway. Continuing their charge up against this hedgehog, they destroyed another Spanish infantry over here, and they're really making some good headway. And then they managed to slip into receive charge and begin to reform. This unit didn't. It continued firing into the hedgehog, largely because there's artillery in this stack. This is a combined unit with artillery and infantry. It's got a decent chance of causing a formation hit anyway. That's a problem, but if I change formation, I'll be giving them another shot and they'll break my formation anyway. It just didn't seem like a good idea. Shots, formation hits, which my artillery as well is indigenous to the, or integral to the unit, can also cause additional hits, which is kind of nice. But, well, that's the extent of that. And now we're over to the Catholics, and they only have 2 units that they could charge up here, and I'm trying to see who they are. It looks like Gallus, I think. Ah, geez, I'm trying to keep track of who's who here. See, yeah, I think the Spaniards are in receive charge, and Gallus over here is in make ready. So Gallus or this wing over here could act. I'm not sure which one I want to do first. I don't get the opportunity to prevent these guys from moving before they end up screening the gun. So in a sense, they don't really matter. It might be best to move them here, or it might be best to try to get Gallus out of there. I don't know. Okay, all the make-readies have happened. Duke Charles positioned his wing to attack here, but also with some threat to the rear here with those artillery. This tried to reform, didn't do a terribly good job. I didn't want to take all these guys out of open order because they got to go up the hill, but I did want to take one out because of this Catholic unit here. We ended up in a little fight there. One of the units got driven back, one of the Swedes, and then Gallus got his turn and did some reforming and didn't really do much there. That put us over to these infantry who are moving their way up the hill. Okay, end of the fourth turn there. Let's see what we had finishing up here. Some cav action down here. Basically, it's not under Legandes anymore, the colonel down here. And yeah, I'm using this counter for him. I'm not sure if that's correct, but it's the right value at least. He did some reformation, got into one little fight and drove back one of these Swedes. We got a couple of Swedes here. The Swedes basically are caught between 2 nasty cav forces here. One here, one here. And they're kind of stuck in the middle with artillery coming at them. It's just not a pleasant place, but they're fine until they get hit. Of course, once the strike happens, well, maybe this can help them sweeping up that way. So it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. Nobody can help them against this with the infantry charging up this hill. But it does look like they're going to take this piece of terrain. They're going to be able to set their guns up if they can get them there. That'll take a while. And the whole infantry formation up here is thrown into question if the Swedes get their guns in place. Now, of course, the Spaniards could limber up their guns and move them along here, but they kind of have to clear this to make that a safe proposition. Otherwise, they'll be getting charges against limbered guns, which just sounds like a terrible thing for the Spaniards. I guess that's about it. Let's see. I mean, these guys kind of reformed as well. And the infantry and the moved up into place, moving around the edge. The guns all fired. I didn't mark them, but you know they did. Alright, and as we enter turn 5, the right-wing cav I chose to use first. Now, it was random, really, whether the Swedes or Catholics went first, because both had the same amount under make ready. This switched into charge, maybe an ill-advised charge. For example, this came charging up and took some flank side fire. But the second round of that charge allowed me to drop this into, force this to drop into Hedgehog, which means now this is really just at the mercy of those heavies. But I did charge one unit up, hit Gallus up here, and he destroyed it. Don't think he had to. Yeah, he didn't have to advance, so he didn't want to. We also had a Catholic unit get chased off too, though, I think, from up here. It's forcing a melee. I'm not sure. Anyway, we're beginning to get some real pile over here in the casualty lists. Okay, now Duke Charles's wing got to activate. I threw it into a charge formation. Some guns taken up here, some of those limbered guns. These guys are going to have a hard time getting away from there. I'm going to have to throw the infantry to screen that or something. I don't know how to protect against this. I left things way too open in the back there. And then hitting back here against Bernard's cav. And mixed results. Some successful attacks, some unsuccessful. I think both sides saw things fall into the box. Both sides saw things pursue off the map. You got some Imperials here, which is not pleasant. I probably want to react to that. And as we hit the end of the turn, not a lot more of excitement. The artillery fired. Again, I didn't mark it. These guys kind of rallied. I mean, you know, standard procedure. I've got a routing guy back here. Who's this? Oh, this is part of his command, and you know he hasn't operated yet. I haven't done him yet, so I get one chance to try to get a continuation and rally that thing. All right, now here at the beginning of turn 6, Duke Charles gets the first activation. One charge on each side. Trying to see where the Protestant one is over here. Launched an attack into here. He didn't completely demolish the Swedes, but he did drive them back significantly. And over here, captured another gun and drove this infantry that had been turned around to face him and try to defend those guns back and away. Got kind of lucky there. He was at I think even rolling. Overall, not too bad. We got these, I think, are Swedes here. And these two are Swedes. They're just getting pushed back somewhat. But we've got some Catholics being flung back there as well. Charge up this hill. I don't remember if I spoke to this yet. Kind of got us into this position. Then Gallus took a recuperation. Then we swing back over here, and we've got these artillery here, well, this infantry unit facing here. I would have liked to get into charge and do an advancing fire, try to wipe that cav out. It's not going to do much more damage, but it's done a lot, and I'm kind of pissed at it, trying to recover these guys. Now we're on to the folk who are in a received charge. Just going to be back here, the Spaniards here. And then for the Swedes, definitely the cav here, and then the infantry here. Now we're pretty much done with turn 6 except for cleanup. Damned if I can remember what happened. The Spanish came charging through, struck back here, did a little bit of damage, loosened things up a little bit. Turned this to face the cav. The artillery up here, a couple of them had line of sight over to the other hill. I don't think they could have seen anything closer, just the way the line of sight works. This guy could actually have seen these guys, but 1, 2, 3, 4, and he would have gotten grazing fire on them. But he fired up at the hill instead. Hey, whatever. Probably wasn't going to do anything. Do you see these infantry beginning to swing into place to where they can start threatening the Swedish infantry that's taking the hill? The Swedish infantry just took some fire. I was hoping to recover that unit, but it hasn't happened. I think these are routing Swedes. I got to figure out I don't think they can retreat. So they're going to have to make a roll on the cannot retreat table, which could make them disintegrate, or it could end up recovering them to shaken morale. And then I've got a couple of Spanish leaders to check, neither of which is terribly important. Sir Baloney's commanding that one unit now. Everything else is gone for him. Okay, opening up into this turn 7, and I can't remember if I know Sir Bellini, and he doesn't even matter, but I can't remember if the Cardinal Infante actually was killed, i.e. Hurt someone, or was hurt by someone on the battle, either a roll or his unit was destroyed, which is, I think, the case. But I had a Kratz here show up here because he chased someone off the map. And I gotta try to remember how to keep from, I'll try rotating him or something, recording that as a death. For the Cardinal Infante, it would actually be an important thing because he's an army leader with a value. He is worth significant points, but I think he got killed. And I can say he got killed running off the map or wounded or whatever. But Kratz, certainly if he fails to come back, shows up in here, which is a sort of different issue. Okay, so what happened? We got an initial launching with Duke Charles's force. A couple of interesting things. A little bit of melee going on. I hope these are, yeah, Catholics. A little bit of melee going on. I think I destroyed a couple of units, including Kratz, and his command is beginning to get very small. It's over here. This may be him. Oh, that's right. I've got someone creeping around here. He's been running back and forth along the back trying to find a way to get back to his command. But other than that, nothing much there. Now, one thing that did happen weird, Ferdinand didn't get a chance to move, and he was over here, but this unit had to move to try to get back in command. I continued playing it out, and Ferdinand got the chance to move on the continuation. So he ends up here. I couldn't get out of charge, by the way. That's one of the problems. So everything's good. You know, he got run away from and then went there. That's fine. But if he had been left there, I would have said that's bullshit. There's no way that, you know, the commander would just sit there. Ah, yes, I'll look over this approaching enemy force. You guys go on without me. It just doesn't make sense. So, as a game mechanism, I followed the rules and everything turned out fine. But had he been left in an unreasonable situation, I would have felt like he had to get out of there. Because unlike Great Battles of History, I believe this one causes you problems if a leader's left alone. Let me make sure of that. Indeed, that's the case. And here's what's difficult. This is an army commander. Normally, every time you get to move your units, your army commander gets to move. So you'd have to have put him in your own position. But this scenario with its special, hey, you know, he's not even assigned to particular units. You roll a die, maybe he moves, maybe he doesn't. It's just a particular circumstance where I think you have to kind of fudge the rules a little bit more because they made a very weird choice as to how to handle that. All right, onward. Well, with Cav coming from two directions, we got this formation here and this formation here of the Spaniards. It's getting kind of tough to tell things apart. Now, luckily, for this particular situation, the Spanish wing is all the Spaniards, and the other one is the Imperials and maybe a few Bavarians in there. But this is one of the things that comes up quite often in this system, is it's hard to tell which wing is which when they kind of get mixed in like that. We've got the same kind of situation with the Swedes where I'm constantly having to check. And luckily, most of the pieces are face up where they have the L's and R's. On the back side of pieces, they don't tell you which wing it's from anymore. So there's really very difficult to figure out. That's always been an issue with this game. The formation shaken marker is in such a place that they couldn't distinguish the wings properly. There's a lot of information on the counter that's not terribly important to gameplay. in particular, and I find it interesting and I like it, the coloring of the background and the top part. Well, that tells you the nationality of the unit, essentially. The color on top and the background to some extent. Between those two, those tell you what the nationality is. That's not terribly important to playing the game. It's an interesting factor to have in there, but there is nothing that tells you which wing it is. And I always find that it feels to me like there should be some kind of distinguishment of the wing command in there instead of just so much of this color information in here devoted to one thing. What is the nationality of the unit? As we slip into the make ready, folks, this infantry moving up, had Gallus, he had to drop into rally. I kind of screwed up with him. It's very easy to make mistakes in something with this many moving pieces in it. I don't mind it that much. It's just kind of the, well, you know, the battle's pretty random anyway. There's a lot going on. But while he was here, he had to drop into rally, and then he wouldn't have been able to do what he did. He moved into charge and drove away a Swedish unit. Otherwise, he would have had to rally in front of these guns and pretty much disintegrated doing that. I don't know. But then I noticed another mistake. Oh, no. Yeah, another mistake, which is this guy hasn't gone with his charge. I didn't even see that charge in that mess. I guess I'll launch it now. But yeah, you know, this is one of the problems with the system is that it is difficult to keep track of all these little orders counters when there are a lot of them on the field. Normally, there's 3 per side. Here, though, there's 4 for the Swedes, which isn't too terrible. But then the Catholics have, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on their side. So you're getting a little bit more complexity, and you're getting this kind of tangled situation where that counter very easily just slipped out of my view. And, well, they slipped into a make-ready to try to reform a little bit. They had some issues here. Now, this poor guy out here stuck on the wing, he reformed and then got shot by this artillery, so that didn't do too much good. I mean, it saved him a loss, but things are too dense for him to just dodge away easily like Cav can usually do. What else? Well, we see the infantry from the center, the Spanish and Catholic center, moving into a position to try to defend against the Swedes taking that hill, and we're trying to get this guy down there to hold the river line. We want to prevent this from getting too ugly, and on the other hand, well, these guys did some reforming. They didn't actually even fire into the hedgehog. I've kind of slowed things down because I've won there. It's just a matter of, you know, I don't see any great advantage to hurrying up here to deal with those Cav particularly, but we'll see. I certainly don't want to get up there in bad condition, and I can take my time and try to shoot this up. This guy's not next to anything, and he needs to be in charge to do anything interesting, so we may have to switch to that. We've got the others across the river. We don't have the guns across yet. Got to make a roll on him, see which way he goes, and then some other. Okay, so we're going to put him in here just to remind us, and we get a replacement for Kratz. I don't know where he's going to go. Put him there so he gets a chance at rallying him. Alright, up this goes.